Hello everybody, I watched a certain VTuber clip nearly a year ago and I just can't get it out of my head. So I'm going to do what normal people do and make a 10-minute video overanalyzing every single detail. The clip in question is from this highlight video from the official Nijisanji channel. And before we get started, please don't harass anyone. The guy who edited this together hasn't posted anything from Nijisanji or his main channel in over a year, and he appears to be more of a translator if anything. I don't really want to speculate how much of this is his involvement and would rather look at this clip as a piece of art worth tearing into. I'm also aware of how badly timed this video is, but be assured I wrote this script like a month ago and I'm just now getting around to it. With that all of the way, it's analysis time. So the clip starts off with Millie telling Folger to wash the dishes and Folger says, "I am doing everything here!" Now this clip is already off to a rough start. There are so many questions going through my head, like where's Folger? What game is this? What the hell is going on? Because the clip starts right in the middle of a game, a lot of context and information is missing, and nothing shown so far actually explains anything important to what's going on. Theoretically though, this clip and every clip in this video should be enjoyable without context, or at least properly conveyed well. This is a highlight reel after all. What this part comes off to me without context is Folger yelling at Millie, which is sort of a dull joke, you know? Anyway, the next shot is a close-up of Folger groaning. I didn't put this in! It's 0.5 seconds long and it's a little messy. I sort of get why it's included. It's a cut that breaks up these two very similar scenes so you don't realize there was a jump cut at all. But it doesn't really work because the initial shot, the Folger yelling moment, doesn't last that long. Like it's 3 total seconds, 1/5 of the entire clip. There isn't really enough time for your brain to really register anything. So cutting up close to his face when it wasn't really necessary and then jumping back becomes extremely jarring to look at. So the third and main segment is Millie throwing a pizza over the counter and Folger yells at her because they can't get to it anymore. But before we can actually talk about that, I have to explain some editing stuff real quick. So an editing technique I like to use is when I enhance a certain part of the screen to make them easier to see, called thing make bigger thing. I like to use it to highlight a chat message, and it's good to use for when you want to bring up a HUD element. I can count the times I've seen this used in a VTuber sphere on one hand, maybe 2 because I lost count, and the ones that I can think of at the top of my head have been used either very weirdly or just plain bad. Like, what even is this? Anyway, to my surprise, this clip actually does a version of this, but it's possibly the worst iteration I've ever seen. When Millie drops the pizza over the counter, the editor decided to enhance her doing that. Quick question, could you actually tell that was the case? What makes this technique work is that it's generally contrasted with everything else, and since the floor tiles are covering up the counters up here, it blends in with the walls and it becomes really hard to even see the action in the edit. What makes this worse is the direction of the clip. Remember that groaning shot I talked about earlier? Because it was placed right before this one, your eyes move in this direction. Then when it cuts to this shot, your eyes move in the exact opposite direction, which makes the edit even harder to notice if you don't know where to look. So not only was this unnecessary to include, it makes the next cut way harder to engage in. And somehow, it gets worse. The pizza bigger edit thing is on screen for a total of 20 frames, literally less than half a second. There was absolutely no time at all given to even properly see that there was an edit at all. The only way for you to actually understand what the hell is going on is if you knew exactly what was about to happen. This is frankly insulting to anyone who has eyes. And if you really had eyes, you probably already noticed the thing in the top right corner. The editor screen recorded this clip, forgot to exit out the word search function, and this is now on the official Nijisanji channel for everyone to see. Now, the obvious thing to ask is, why donkey? What's so special about the word donkey? Well, if you go to original stream, there's a comment with a list of timestamps, and one of them has the word donkey at the end, which is also the last thing Folger says at the end of the clip. You donkey! Now, this is fine. I'm being completely serious when I say that this isn't a big deal at all. It's okay for you to use other people's timestamps from VODs, and it's fine to screen record your clips. I do that too. I'm literally doing that right now. Although you could speculate that nobody actually peer reviewed it and told them to fix it, but out of nearly 200,000 people, only 3 dudes actually noticed it. And since it's out of the way and is only on screen for like 12 seconds in a 10-minute video, it doesn't ruin the experience at all. It's not really an issue worth talking about. I only brought it up because I thought it was really funny, but also, good editing can be used to hide mistakes like this. Everything Everywhere All at Once, one of the best movies ever made, has a continuity error. The chapstick is here on the floor in one shot and gone in the next, but because the focus is on the main character, you most likely never even noticed it before. It's clever. Nobody actually cares if something has a few mistakes in it. If the overall product is well made and pretty to look at, then we'll take the bad with the good. Except that it wasn't good. None of the changes made to the clip improve or enhance the experience, and every bad edit is somehow made worse with every other terrible change. It's a clip that's worse than the sum of its parts. What this results in is a dumb, reductive 16-second clip of a guy screaming at someone over nothing. Okay, let's take a step back here. This is just a 16-second clip of a guy screaming at a video game. This doesn't warrant some long, drawn-out video scrutinizing every little frame. And to be honest, yeah, you're right. I'm mostly doing this for fun, but I don't believe that invalidates any of what I said here. Even if you like the clip just the way it is, that doesn't mean you should brush off criticism. It's important to be critical of the things you like, and it's vital to be fair when you're criticizing something you hate too. However, I don't feel like I've been totally fair at all yet. Talking extensively how bad something is will only get you so far. While someone could easily look at this clip and simply just not do all the things that they did, I don't think that's enough. You can't improve without understanding your mistakes, and in order to properly criticize this, we have to understand why it was made like this in the first place. And in order to do that, we have to look at the clip from the source untainted.
No. Fall down, Master, please!
I am doing everything here! Alright, I didn't put this in. I'm putting it in. Why did you throw? Why did you throw the pizza? Oh my god! That's a fully made pizza you just threw over there, and we now can't get it. We're all on this side. You fucking donkey!
Oh my god!
Now, in my opinion, I really like it this way. You can actually see Millie throwing the pizza. You can actually see the counter move in place and blocking anyone from entering. And you can hear Fulgur's frustration build up as he's trying to think of how to insult Millie. And after watching this clip like 10 times, Millie could have just stayed on the other side instead of throwing it on the ground, which makes the whole interaction much funnier. I think the most effective edit you could have made was to add an arrow pointing to where Millie's at. So why didn't they do that? Well, I think it's because Fulgur stuttered a bit, and there were a few gaps in his amazing speech, and the cuts added hide these gaps decently well. Looking at it again, this close-up of Fulgur also worked as a jump cut, and it saves a good 3 seconds very seamlessly. Although the close-up of Fulgur doesn't really make sense in this context, like the thing he's yapping about has nothing to do with him, so it just looks a bit odd to fixate on him, you know? In fact, the edits that they made could have been done way better while keeping the entire structure of the clip. What you could have done is zoomed in on Millie throwing the pizza, took the audio of Fulgur yelling at her, "Pizza!" and then cut to his next line. It gives the action more time to breathe. The jump cut is preserved, and because your eyes are still on the pizza, it doesn't look jarring when the cut actually happens. This also works better with the groaning shot, because both shots are closer to the center of the camera. Your eyes have a better time adjusting to the next shot. In hindsight, I think the real major problem with the clip is that Millie threw the pizza right as Fulgur said it, and it cuts away immediately, which didn't give you any time to process what was going on. Hey, editing me. I think another reason why this works better is because there's just way too much crap on screen in the original. I'm just now realizing that, unfortunately. Also, even after making my own edits, I still prefer the clip unedited, but it's fine if you don't. I'm not shaming you or anything. Although I have much more to say on the topic, that's basically all I have to say. Like, as much as I want to talk about how to prevent mistakes like this from happening, it mostly boils down to getting someone else to look at it for you. Plus, this video is way too long. If you want to know more, watch this other video and pretend I said all that. Anyway, that was my 10-minute long analysis of a 16-second clip that I didn't like that much. Bye.